All right, how about some more reflections on thoughts?
In the first part of this, I talked about the way that thoughts are reflections on our experiences, reflections on what goes on in our sense gates, our six senses. Those senses being taste, smell, touch, sound, feeling, touch feeling, and thoughts. And so thoughts are always reflections on what's happening in our senses, and our senses are always happening now. And a thought is happening now. The experience of a thought is happening now. What's fascinating about thoughts is that the content of thoughts is reflecting on on experience. And a reflection, recording an impression or a direct reflection is always after the fact. Right? If a sense, the sense of sound happens now, then a thought that contains a reflection of that sound is too late. It's not that sound. So thoughts are always too late. And that's okay. Like, this is not a, there's no value judgment attached to this. It's just the nature of thoughts. The content of thoughts is as compelling as it seems, as interesting and urgent and important as it can often seem. It's just reflecting things that have happened, and it's late. Also, in the content of a thought, if you look really closely at what is inside of a thought, if you just notice what's going on there, you'll see that there's nothing in a thought that carries with it true or false. Thoughts don't, in and of themselves, contain trueness or falseness. The only way that you could take the content of one thought and evaluate whether it has any truth is to reflect on it with another thought. And then another thought can come in and look at the two of those and congratulate you on how amazing you are at evaluating truth values or something like that. But like, it's not, true and false are not intrinsic to a single thought. A thought is just a thing. So the analogy I really like, and I find this really resonant for people, is to think of the entire sky, and then notice that the entire sky, from horizon to horizon, there are often clouds. And imagine just a completely blue sky, or maybe where you're sitting, you have a completely blue sky with a couple scattered clouds. And then go look and examine a cloud. The cloud is in the sky. It's part of the sky. It's inseparable from the sky, and yet the cloud appears as an object in it. And in that cloud, in that object, is stuff, white, fluffy stuff, or grayish, fluffy stuff, or hazy stuff, or whatever. It's in there. So the cloud is this collection of that stuff. But in that stuff, as close as you might want to look at a cloud, you're not going to find true or false in it. It'd be weird to find true or false in a cloud, right? And similarly, it would be really weird to each day open up the front door of your house, look up into the sky, lock onto a cloud, and be like, that's what I have to do. Or look at another cloud and be like, yup, oh man. Or look at another cloud and be like, that's a lie. That's not true at all. And you certainly wouldn't string together your experience of looking at several clouds and then just be like, yep, that's who I am. You are not your thoughts any more than a collection of clouds is the sky. Your thoughts don't have anything to say about you that is intrinsically true or false any more than a cloud has anything to say about the entirety of the sky. Even a perfectly clear sky from horizon to horizon that contains not even a single cloud, that doesn't change the sky. And if the sky were filled with clouds from horizon to horizon, it was completely overcast, that's still the sky. And the nature of the sky, the nature of the atmosphere, the nature of all that the sky is from horizon to horizon is not influenced by the contents of any one cloud or even a collection of clouds. So thoughts appear in consciousness the way that clouds appear in the sky. Thoughts come and go. Clouds come and go. Thoughts move about. And clouds move about. And sometimes all it seems that there is up there is just clouds from horizon to horizon, and sometimes in your life you just have just thoughts running wild. And just like the nature and the collection and the movement of clouds does not define the sky, doesn't have anything to do with the sky, your thoughts don't have anything really to say about what you truly are. They have nothing to say about your true nature any more than a cloud has something to say about your true nature. That's all an analogy with the cloud and the sky. It's much fuller, much richer when it comes to the interrelationships between thoughts and consciousness and your true nature. But it's right there. Like, keep looking at those reflective thoughts, movements in consciousness. Examine thoughts really closely and just notice how it's completely that a thought as an object is completely seamless with consciousness. So we're not throwing away thoughts here. We're not ditching thoughts. We're not going from believing in thoughts and forming our identity with thoughts to eradicating thoughts and warring against thoughts. That's silly when you look closely enough at that. But it's also a tendency that we have, because something that happens in thought quite a bit is the formation of dichotomies, binaries. It's got to be this or it has to be that. We're not going to get rid of thoughts here. That's impossible. Probably. Maybe the most enlightened person just doesn't have thoughts anymore. But what we want to do is change our relationship to thoughts. We want to see the selfing mechanism for what it is, a collection of thoughts. We want to recognize starting on an intellectual level, but not stopping there, moving well beyond just knowing it on an intellectual level, knowing it at a deep core level that you are not your thoughts. Thoughts have no inherent intrinsic truth value, so they cannot tell you what you are. To find that, you've got to go to that which precedes thoughts. We got to go to what is primary to thoughts, what is primary to the content of any thought. Move into direct contact with the entire sky.